Right, hey guys, how are we doing? We are back with another video from Mother's Basement, and today we're going to be checking out One Piece Fans Were Right, Oh No! Part 1, Character Design. I'm just going to get straight into it. I've noticed he's done a few other One Piece videos. I'll be checking them out as I go through One Piece myself.
You might have noticed there was a
I am
bit of a gap
happy with the One Piece stuff at the moment. I own the first 73 volumes of One Piece in manga.
And there are a few reasons for that.
I'm only partway through it.
Flying to the anime awards and
Youth, fancy.
Super busy, stressful month. But also, I recently made the mistake of starting One
Oh,
Piece.
yes. It takes over.
We all know how that goes.
It takes
Look,
over.
guys, I didn't want the One Piece fans to be right.
But they are. It's annoying, isn't
The
it?
series is so good.
Yeah.
And like everyone who starts One Piece, I now want to do nothing but talk about
yeah.
it all the time. I'm not going to do that.
I try with my girlfriend, she's like, just stop it.
Probably don't want to forget about them, but as a compromise, as I work my way through this massive story, I am definitely going to be talking about it a lot. And today, I'd like to kick that off by explaining why I think the series' character designs, from what I've read up to the Reverse Mountain arc, are the best. Like, maybe out of anything.
They are really decent. I feel like they're able to emote more than in a lot of anime. It's very easy to know what they are feeling through the way that their characters are drawn.
Because while I could also analyze the designs of all of the unique villagers, pirates, and other supporting characters who've appeared in
They do look cool.
so far, if I did that, we'd literally be here forever.
My god.
Not even the One Piece fans want that. I mean, they've got more One Piece to read and
Yeah,
watch.
of course.
I want this video and the others I'm no doubt going to make to serve as a showcase of just some of the reasons this series is so critically acclaimed.
Right.
The insane depth present behind seemingly everything that Eiichiro Oda does, but also, it's a warning. An example of what this series does to people. It's too late for me now. I already feel myself becoming one of them. But maybe I
No.
can calculate
Yes, I've definitely been drawn into the Straw Hat crew.
you for how good some parts of it are before I inevitably become incapable of saying any sentence that's not a direct recommendation to watch or read it. And maybe, just maybe if I do that, when you inevitably start reading it because I'm just that charismatic and convincing.
Yes, you are, Jeff.
might not be
Yes, you
totally
are.
blown away by everything that's great about it all at once, and you might be able to retain just enough of your sanity to help the rest of us. Please, it's our only hope. When talking about One Piece's character designs, it's impossible to avoid discussing the series' distinct, some might say cartoony, art style.
It is
the two
bit
are inextricably
cartoony, but I like it.
the apparent majority of anime and manga aim for the same rough aesthetic target of characters with realistic proportions, simplified features, and exaggerated eyes and mouths to maximize their overall expressiveness. One Piece kinda just does its own thing.
Yeah, it does.
Characters are goofy looking, with an incredibly
But it's because of that, if they're sad, you know straight away.
exaggerated, often downright strange body types. Plus the one that almost all of the women have, but that's the asterisk. This is still very much a shonen manga. That
Very
said,
much so.
One Piece is also still very much a shonen manga. So while its characters wouldn't look out of place in Toontown, the series still strives for a kind of anime realism. It's not just that this is how Eiichiro Oda happens to draw his characters, this is what their bodies actually look like. These strange bodies are treated and framed like solid objects,
Yep.
with meat and bones in them, not lines on a page. And the laws of physics affect them like they would objects of that shape and size in the real world. And this means that despite how doofy the characters can look,
The eyes, man.
it feels real, and when fists start flying, they carry exactly as much weight behind
As a
them
normal
as the
fist.
fists of the coolest looking shonen protagonist you can name.
Yep.
Often much more so, actually. Monkey D. Luffy has a mean left hook.
He really does.
There's also just something about the simple, appealing, larger-than-life look of this world and these characters that makes it that much more impactful when the series tugs on your heartstrings or sails into
Oh,
waters.
Dabby.
These cartoon characters inhabit is kinda horrific when you think about it. The government sucks. You can't
Yep.
go swimming because monsters will eat you. There are fishmen supremacists who can turn whole buildings
Upside
with their
down.
bare hands,
Yep.
colonizing human islands and killing and enslaving people. And also, oh yeah, I almost forgot, there's fucking pirates everywhere.
Yeah.
Pirates are terrifying! The realism realism with which this series treats its fantastical escapist setting extends to how it handles its characters. The pirates we meet in One Piece, especially the Straw Hat crew, are complex, authentic human beings
They've
with
all got stuff going on there.
pasts and reasons for being the way
Oh,
they are. They're
Zoro.
reflected in how they carry themselves, how they dress, and what they choose to carry with them. They're also living action figures, like the really cool kind with the kung fu grip and other gimmicks. Every major character in One Piece has a different cool power or
Yes, they do.
fighting style, an iconic
And it's so weird, like.
perform, and their whole bodies are designed to accentuate that action for maximum impact, make it look as cool as possible while they do it,
Yep.
while also reflecting the kind of person they are, their history, and what matters to them most. Take Axehand Morgan, for
Okay.
example. I'll give you non-viewers exactly 1 second to guess how he fights. Dude wouldn't look out of place in a G.I. Joe lineup.
No, that's true. It would not, yeah.
You practically see the little flimsy plastic lever sticking out of his back that makes the
I suppose you could, yeah. I see what he means.
Axehand Morgan is an action figure right down to his action figure name. But Axehand Morgan is also a believable authoritarian douchebag, so high on toxic masculinity and desperate to project a cool, tough guy image that on top of the usual obsessive bodybuilding nonsense that guys like that often take part in, he replaced his entire dominant hand with
an
a
axe.
battle axe.
Yeah.
And also grafted a metal cigar holder to his face in order to hide his butt chin, which he's super embarrassed about, and that's probably part of why he hates his son. Also, he keeps his hair buzzed short because it naturally grows out all silky and long, something Helmeppo also inherited. He's got some serious self-image issues, and none of that is explicitly stated in the text. It's all conveyed through how he chooses to look and how he acts.
Yeah.
And he's just a minor villain, so
Yeah,
you
he doesn't have much to do. Although he has carried on with the cover
Vanity
stories.
is a running theme in the Straw Hats Rogues Gallery, or at least it seems to be among the villains of East Blue. And that makes a lot of sense given how these characters are written. All of them have some deep-seated insecurity that drives them to pursue power and do violence in order to validate
And do
themselves.
violence.
And this manifests in their designs in a variety of ways. You can look at Buggy the Clown and simply see yet another scary clown bad guy with knives.
Yes.
He is that, but he's also, once again, a human being. One who had the misfortune to grow up around a bunch of tough, mean pirates
Well, Shanks,
with a
yeah.
naturally big, round, red nose. Buggy has been driven his entire life to prove that he's not just some
joke,
clown,
yeah.
or at least acquire enough power to make those who say he is shut the fuck up.
Yeah, man.
And he tries to own the whole clown pirate thing by painting his face with a cool skull and crossbones to prove it doesn't really bother him, but also he'll murder you just for mentioning it.
Yeah.
Or even just for sounding like maybe you did. Most of that comes across in just one manga panel when Buggy is first introduced. The lazy
It is
swagger
cool,
with which
yeah.
he slouches in his captain's chair, bare arm and simple t-shirt hanging out of his unnecessarily fancy fur coat, paints a perfect picture of who he is.
You know he's a bad guy straight away, yeah.
Napoleon complex, dressing up in the fineries of a pirate captain because that's what he thinks respect is. Oh, and speaking of the shirt and also his socks, notice how the stripes around his limbs resemble the clean cuts made when he separates his body parts using the power of the chop chop.
Oh, okay.
You know,
I'll give you
now
that.
I'm looking at them side by side, the simplified, colorful look of the anime really detracts from how menacing and
Yeah, it's a hell of a lot more menacing on that manga panel, jeez.
manga. It's definitely a poor adaptation in that regard. Speaking of the manga, reading it also means you get to enjoy the wonderful SBS Q&A sections that come after some chapters, where Oda answers important questions about the One Piece universe, such as, does Buggy's power work on his penis? And does Luffy's power work on his penis? The answer to both of those questions is yes. Anyway, this video would again take forever if I ran through all of the bit characters, but before I move on, I just want to say that I love the way Oda themes his villainous pirate crews. As Buggy is a clown, it only makes sense that he would have a circus-themed crew.
Yeah, circus-themed crew,
Oda
yeah,
has a lot
definitely.
of fun
It is
figuring
cool
out
that
how to
they do
translate
stick to the
various roles of a
themes.
circus troupe to a shonen battle pirate context. It is just so neat seeing an anime pirate.
Yeah, you got the guy with the and him on the wheel with the yeah. It's so random, but it fits.
Look like a sideshow. The Buggy pirates are just really fun characters. So are the Black Cat pirates, for that matter. Sham and Butchie both look super goofy and adorable while feeling believably menacing as a Voldo-esque twisty claw weirdo and big thick wrestling boy, respectively. Butchie somehow manages to be exactly 50% pirate and 50% heavyweight champ. It's remarkable. And Django mixes things up while still feeling at home among all the cats with his Egyptian look. Then, of course, there's Captain Kuro's design, which is just awesome. Dude wears 10 katanas on his fingers all the time like it ain't no thing. That's close to the coolest interpretation of the whole cat claw glove weapon idea I've ever seen. And the rest of his design is equally solid. To emphasize the humiliation he feels dressing up as a butler for his grand scheme, his uniform just has two big old golden poops on it.
I never noticed that until he just said that. Yeah, they are.
Because that's literally the only way he can see through his flimsy, slippery glasses half the time. On that note, you gotta love how he pushes those spectacles up with his palms to avoid decapitating himself. I know Oda literally mentions it in the story, but it's clever enough.
It is, yeah, it's smart.
On that design detail. The fact that Kuro won't change those glasses and goes out of his way to smash the nicer ones Kaya got for him shows how stubborn and arrogant he is.
Stuck in his ways, he will do what he wants to do.
He knows better than everyone all the time, even when he's obviously wrong. He cares more about proving that he's right and he's got the best, smartest plans than actually getting what he wants or what would be best for him. And between the glasses and the poop, Oda does a wonderful job of capturing what a dipshit he is, while also showing us how great he thinks he is. Now, it's fun talking about villains, and One Piece has a lot of very fun ones, but the series would be nothing without its heroes.
Of course.
Both appealing and empathetic characters, and friggin' badass cartoon super freaks who do awesome stuff all the time. Stuff that is facilitated by their excellent designs. Luffy's clothing choices scream pirate, or possibly castaway or cabin boy. Either way, they're definitely nautical and also definitely cheap. They're not fancy because he's never...
It's very simple design, but it's effective. It's like, it's so weird. Very minimal, but does the job.
Breathable and easy to fight in. Luffy's shorts have rather wide cuffs and a fluffy lining, which accentuates how straight and noodly his legs are, and allows them to stretch easily without
they don't get in the way.
horrible chafing he'd presumably have to deal with in something.
I suppose that's overthinking there, but yes.
The neck on his vest serve much the same purpose. You can tell at a glance that Luffy is a brawler with long range.
Definitely.
Given how lanky, rounded, and elastic he already looks, as soon as you see him stretch, it just makes sense that he'd be able to do that. And it also immediately makes sense that he hits as hard as he does. Luffy's limbs are noodly, but they're thick udon noodles.
Yeah.
A lot of muscle definition when you look at them up close.
They rubber.
He looks elastic, but sturdy. His design also tells us exactly what kind of person he is. Those loose, comfy clothes indicate how much he values freedom. The scar under his right eye shows how tough and fearless he is in a fight, but everything else about
But he did that to himself.
friendly, just like him. His big hands, rounded head, wide grin, and messy hair all give off a distinctly simian vibe, true to his name. And his straw hat kind of completes the monkey look, evoking both a pirate hat and saucer-like cartoon chimp ears. It defines him visually, just as his relationship with Shanks, which it symbolizes, defines his character.
Yes.
Of course, part of what makes Luffy's design so brilliant is the way that it changes as he does over the course of the story, as do all of the other important characters, but I'm not there yet again, so yeah. Monkey D. Luffy is a dumb kid who
He is dumb.
the grand tales about noble, adventurous pirates doing incredible things that he heard in his youth were mostly exaggerations and lies spilling from the drunken mouths of sailors who rob other sailors for a living. So he decided to become the kind of hero those guys made up and told him about, and because he was too dumb to ever stop, and also basically invincible, eventually he did that. He looks like a kid's idea of a friendly, brave pirate, because that's exactly
what he is. Yeah.
At least when the story begins. Moving on to the other Straw Hats, Roronoa Zoro is probably the most conventionally anime-looking character
Definitely.
in the series, which is
Bandana and swords.
because as a wandering samurai with a strong code of honor and an unbending will to one day become the best like no one ever was, all because of a promise he made to his childhood Nakama who died literally the next day, Zoro is the most anime guy on this entire friggin' Waterworld.
Definitely, I give you that. He is very much like, I am anime.
But he does have
I carry my friend's dream along with me as long as my own.
His garb is appropriate for seafaring, though not as explicitly piratey as that of his captain, but he wears his samurai heart on his sleeve, or rather around his waist, through his haramaki at all times. Also the 3 huge fuck-off swords that are hanging from it,
They're
which
a big
immediately
thing,
tell
yeah.
you that this is not a dude to be messed with,
Nope.
and make you feel curious about his gimmick even before he takes on his iconic Sentoryu-style fighting stance. His facial features are likewise pretty anime-looking, and amid all these tunes, they immediately make him look like a fighter. Oda also draws him with a notably strong jaw, which, of course he would have. Zoro, at least when we first meet him, is a single-minded character who has devoted his entire life to the blade.
Sword
so of
fighting
course his
is
blades
everything.
are the defining feature of his design. That design changes quickly, though, as he collects scars from powerful foes, permanent reminders carved into his flesh of the hurdles he must overcome.
Well,
to
the
become
one on his
warrior
chest
of
from
the
Mihawk, man,
but
yeah.
also of the brave things that he's done and the sacrifices he's made to protect his friends. Speaking of those friends, Nami wears, quite intentionally, very unassuming generic clothing when we first meet her. A simple, nondescript, but showy striped t-shirt with sleeves just long enough to cover her arm-long tag. Nami is a thief, and in her line of work it pays to give as little away about yourself as possible. And
Makes sense, yeah. You don't want to be suspected of anything.
So she plays the part of a normal, friendly, kind of cute girl. Despite her profession and proclivity for lying, Nami is a sentimental and caring person at heart who will do anything for the sake of her
I love
friends
when we found
and
out what was going on
and
with
the
her, and then
tattoo
it's
she
like,
gets
ah.
to replace the brand of her enslavement gives her a permanent symbolic connection to her adopted mother and father wherever she goes in the world. And that's about as much as I can say about her design right now, sadly. Nami is a really wonderful, complex character from a writing perspective, but unfortunately, not as much of that's apparent in her design as it is with her male contemporaries. Her outfit is in constant flux, seemingly for the sake of fashion and fan service first and foremost, and her facial features have clearly been drawn to make her look pretty before they convey anything about her personality.
Yeah.
Also, due to the
Also.
face and body syndrome, she really looks like she's related to Belle-Mère and Nojiko, when it's a very important part of her backstory
That she's not. Yeah.
That's just not great character design,
Mm.
which is extra disappointing because I know for a fact that Oda is more than capable of making adopted siblings look like family without looking related. Don't get me wrong, I think Nami's cute as a button, and I personally appreciate the fan service. Her design just isn't as strong as that of the other major characters so far.
Yeah, that's true.
And given
Maybe
that
though.
she's maybe my favorite character in the main cast right now, I really think she deserves better. I've already mentioned Usopp's long nose, which immediately identifies him as a liar, and that fits him perfectly because, like his nose, his lies are really
Such a simple idea, isn't it? But yeah, like the whole Pinocchio thing.
Which is what makes him likable instead of coming off as a duplicitous sleazeball. Speaking of stereotyping, maybe I'm just saying this because Usopp's baggy utility overalls remind me of Dennis the Menace, but between those, the lack of a shirt under them, the sniper goggles, and the bandana, doesn't he just look like a guy who'd have and use a slingshot? I distinctly remember watching early episodes of this show when I was much younger and thinking as soon as I saw him, now that's a dude who uses elastic things to cause problems. The fact that Usopp's clothes don't really fit him right hints at his immaturity, while also highlighting how scrawny he is. If this guy's gonna fight all those big scary pirates, it only makes sense that he'd do it at a distance.
Yeah,
At the same time,
running
the
away
fact that he's
scared,
wearing practical
surprising
work
himself at every
clothes
turn.
tied back tell us that he can be a hard worker when he puts his mind to it, and the duffel bag stuffed to bursting hanging at his waist indicates that he's resourceful and likes to stay prepared for any situation. That bag of tricks is integral to his fighting style. He uses his slingshot to deliver a lot of different creative payloads, not just rocks. It also, through its bulk, further accentuates just how skinny he really is. And that skinny, lanky, angular frame just happens to look really cool when he drops into a wide stance and pulls back his signature weapon. If Luffy is designed to stretch, then Usopp is clearly designed to stretch things. That weapon is also Usopp's lone connection, in his design at least, to his famous marksman father, which makes sense because as proud as Usopp is of his dad, he never really had a chance to get to know him. And most of what he knows about him is that he was a great marksman.
So he obviously wants to aspire to be just like him, yeah.
Using kid-friendly tools rifles instead of pistols, and ended up becoming a master slingshot user as a result. Now Sanji, the last Straw Hat pirate we meet in East Blue, is his own signature weapon, and I just
His
love
kicks.
the simplicity with which his fighting style is conveyed through his design. Sanji's entire lower half is basically featureless, just two long, black,
Legs,
conspicuously straight pant legs capping off in a pair of solid, polished shoes. As soon as you look down from his torso, your eye is immediately drawn to his feet, and the abnormal length of his legs suggests that he can probably swing them pretty hard when need be. And, yep, boy howdy can he ever swing those feet.
It's amazing.
With skill and power that he clearly picked up
Oh,
from
that
his
flashback.
own adopted father, your Red Shoes Zeph. Most of Sanji's initial design is influenced by his relationship with Zeph, and his contradictory desire to both uphold the old chef's legacy and stick it to the shitty old geezer at every opportunity. Sanji dresses up like a polite, respectable waiter, putting on a nice face for the customers of Zeph's restaurant up until they piss him off, and
And then he
trying
just
to
tells
look
him how it
as
is.
sexy as he can should a lady happen to walk in while he's on shift.
Oh, he can't
But
help
no
it.
matter how carefully he coifs his hair and presses his pants, that extremely chaotic spiral eyebrow is always there, peeking through. And because he's got a short temper that he needs to actively keep in check, and he isn't actually as professional as he makes himself out to be, he's basically always got a lit cigarette in his mouth, especially when he's working. The way Sanji keeps his hair swept to one side of his face while leaving that cigarette just sort of dangling out the other makes him look very asymmetrical and therefore off balance, which shows how flimsy his calm and cool persona really is. Having grown up surrounded by rough and tumble pirate cooks and lived through starvation and other hardships at a young age, Sanji's the most mature and experienced member of the Straw Hat crew when he
And it
first
makes sense,
shows up.
yeah.
And he shows that by being the only male crew member with facial hair at the beginning of the story. He is still young, though.
Okay, yeah,
His beard
okay.
is still quite thin, and while it gives him an air of maturity, that scruffy goatee also perfectly suits his horny on main teenage idiot side. With each chapter,
Yes,
I
horny
read,
on
it
main.
continually amazes me how much thought has gone into practically every character in One Piece. Eiichiro Oda really utilizes every element of the manga form to tell as much story as he can, as efficiently and artistically as possible. And the really amazing thing is that he's been doing this since the series began.
1997?
You have no idea how excited I am to see how his character design and storytelling abilities have evolved in the almost 2 full decades since he wrote the parts I'm reading now. For all you One Piece fans who are already caught up, I hope this video has been a fun look back at how things used to be. And for the curious potential fans who aren't here yet, I hope I've made it clear just how cavernous this rabbit hole already is, only 100
There's just so much to
chapters
talk
into
about.
almost 1,000. Stay away from One Piece, is what I'm saying. Because if you let it, it can
Take
and
over.
will consume all of your brain. Of course, One Piece is inevitable. Even I couldn't hold it off forever. But still, for the rest of our sakes, I hope that you holdouts keep fighting the good fight of not reading this really good story that everyone should read as long as you can.
Boss. Yeah, the character designs are interesting. They seem basic, but they match the characters, and it does make sense. Ow! It does make sense why they're drawn the way they are. Certain little bits that he pointed out I don't notice myself, so that was quite interesting. His next one is the wonderful world building of One Piece, but I don't think I'm far enough into One Piece to watch it yet without being spoiled for something, so going to hold off on that, and then I'm going to read some more, and then he's got another One Piece video, which is do not read One Piece, which I really think is just, basically as he's saying there, it just takes over. So, thank you guys very much for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of it? Click like, subscribe, and really leave comments down below. Let me know what you're watching because of future videos. I'll see you guys next time.